Hello, and welcome back to the She Can Share podcast. My name is Melissa Hughes, your podcast host. Guys, I just want to say I've gotten quite a few messages from you just like saying, hey, thank you for the show. Thank you for the podcast. It's helping me. And I'll be honest with you, I have to tell you, I have not, since I've launched this show, have not checked the analytics. Basically how the show is performing at all. And let me tell you why. Because I'm too afraid. And so every single week since I started this podcast, which is last January, I've just created the content and posted it because I really needed to just do it and not just get over the fear. You know what I mean? Of just putting content out there. But I've been and also that's just so you know, any business person that's listening to this right now is like, what are you doing? Look, I know. Okay. But this is kind of what I teach is you have to start with what you have and don't let what's going to hold you back keep you from starting. So when I first started and honestly up till now, I was like, I just need to just do it. And I don't need to I don't want to look at the feedback. I don't want to look at the numbers because I don't want it to get in my head of showing up. And so, anyway, so not to get into content yet or anything, but that's a little tip for you there. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's sent me a message and encouraged me. Maybe this week I'll pluck up enough courage to go and check the analytics of my show. But I just wanted to open up with that and just say thank you. So, and what I want to share with you today for the show is actually that starting messy, and what that actually looks like and what that actually means. Because I know that we hear that phrase start messy. Yeah. But really, guys, what does that look like? And how does that feel? And what does that mean? And so, I kind of gave you a little point, is you have to start with what you have and don't let what you don't have or what might hold you back really keep you from starting because I promise you it will, but it doesn't have to. And so for instance, this podcast, I was like, okay, if I try to perfect it, if I try to have all the equipment, some of you might know my story. I just started it through Zoom. And I didn't have a microphone. I didn't have fancy equipment. I just did it. I had Apple headphones and that's what I used just to start because I was like, I feel like if I try to get all this stuff, it's going to overwhelm me. And I'm just I'm just not going to do it. I was like, but what I know how to do is I know how to use Zoom. I could do that. I feel I'm comfortable with Zoom and I know how to put some notes down and some bullet points so I can stay on track and I could just talk. I could do that. So I'm like, I'm going to just start with that. And so I'm wanting, I guess the first point with this is think about what you feel comfortable doing. Even if it's a little uncomfortable, think about okay, I could do that. I can start there and just do that. I think a lot of people right now are looking at, people that they're following that have literally been doing this for 5, 10, 15 years. I mean, the social media world, this whole content thing, it's still fairly new, but they're looking at people that have been doing it for the last 10 years that have the beautiful website, that have the amazing thumbnails, that have all the equipment. And they're like, it's too overwhelming. So I'm just not going to do it. Listen, okay. If that's you, I want you to just think about me and my Apple headphones and just I hope, and I literally started like that to encourage people to be like, look, it doesn't have to be that complicated. It doesn't have to be that hard. You're going to learn as you go, but clarity comes with action, which would maybe be point number 2. Point number 2, clarity comes with action. If you don't start, you just aren't going to know, and you're not going to move forward. And so did I know what type of microphone to have before I started the podcast? No. Did I really know what was important? Oh, maybe you should have an intro. Maybe you should have an outro. Maybe you should have cover art. Not really. Okay. I just kind of started. And that's not to say, hear me now. That's not to say don't do market research. Don't try to figure it out. But what I'm saying is a lot of us spend way too much time preparing to prepare that we just get into our head. But if we could spend more time like in a place of prayer, in a place of prayer, getting excited, letting God speak to us, and from that place feeling ignited to just show up and be like, look, God, I'm going to just give you my 5 loaves and 2 fish, and let's just do it together. And this isn't about how many people watch me. This isn't about, the impact right now. This is about my walk with God and just answering the call and saying yes. This is about me just being like, look, forget everybody else. Forget, all the people that have been doing it for 10 years. Good for you. But here I am. I'm going to be accountable to God's voice. I'm going to be accountable to the call that you put on my life, because God has plans to prosper me, plans to move me forward. I'm just going to focus on my lane and just take the next step. Like that is the mentality. Who cares if so-and-so has been at it longer? They probably have been. Is their content better than yours? It probably is. Are their graphics and their Instagram a little bit prettier than yours? Yeah, it probably is. But are you really going to allow that to hold you back from the blessing, the purpose, the people that you're called to impact and to reach? No, that's a dumb idea. That's dumb. But I understand that mentality because I felt that. I remember literally God speaking to me being like, Melissa, start creating content and showing up on video. And I remember being in my kitchen. Some of you have heard this story. I remember being in my kitchen, reaching for the fridge to pull something out. And we're being like, God, in a sea of voices, what does my voice even matter? That was my thought process. Maybe you think that today. And I just remember God being like, Melissa, it matters because you're my daughter. And out of a sea of voices, I want to hear your voice. And it really brought it home because it's like, oh, this isn't actually about other people. This is actually about me answering the call that God's placed on my life. And so, again, I'm all over my notes here, but point number 2, clarity comes with action. And so like, if you are finding yourself preparing to prepare, getting all your ducks in a row, and you're finding it's actually not preparation, it really truly is procrastination. Look, I just want you to know you're never going to feel ready. Somebody's always going to be better than you. You're always going to kind of feel a little bit like an imposter. Maybe not always, but in the beginning that you feel that way, like, who am I to show up? Who am I to give something? Who am I to have a microphone? Like, it feels like that. It feels uncomfortable. I'm just trying to like break it down so clear. Because again, start messy. What does that look like? This is what it looks like. You literally just do it. Nike got it right. You literally just do it. So clarity comes with action. You learn as you go. And I actually did a video about this week on my Instagram. I said, my son, he just started playing flag football. Does he know what no, but guys, he's 5. Is he excited? You betcha. And this last week he got the ball and he ran in the opposite direction from the goal. But what was so cute is as he's running, he's looking over at me and my husband with just the biggest smile on his face. Like, I got the ball and I'm running. And my husband and I were just dying because we're like in the wrong direction. And he came back over and he's like, did you see? Did you see? And you're like, yeah, buddy, we saw. We're just glad you got the ball. You know what I mean? Like, we'll work on the direction next week. And for some of you right now, it's like, look, I'm just glad you got the ball and you're starting to take some movement. We'll work on the direction as we go. But right now, let's just get your feet moving. Let's just get you running. And like, I look at that, like him running in the wrong direction. Do I look at that as a failure? No. Do I look at that as somebody that's on a journey, on a flag football journey? Yeah, I do. And for some of you right now, like, you're so afraid to fail. You're so afraid that you're going to get it wrong. And let me just tell you, you are. pregnant pause for effect. You are going to mess it up. I have failed a lot of times on this journey. If you want me to share some stories, I'd be happy to, but like, you are going to mess it up. You are going to fail. But this is the thing. It's really actually just feedback. I actually had a call yesterday with a client. And I was like, man, I got off that call and it's things that like my business needs to improve. Did I let that like be like, oh, it's like, no, was that kind of a hard conversation? Yeah, it was. Are there things now that I'm like, I need to change it, but it's like, okay, that's feedback. Now I can be better for the next time. And so just like flipping all this stuff on its head, there's just so much fear around this that it keeps so many of us stuck. So if I could say like point number 3, for those of you who are list takers, failure is just feedback and it's going to be a part of your journey. Just to give you like a funny story, like I remember I did a video once showing up being like, look, guys, who cares what people think? You got to just create video content. If Moses would have allowed what people to think hold him back from doing the ark, just imagine like those people wouldn't have been saved. Like literally, that was the video. And I had all these people commenting, being like, ha, 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 this is so funny. Ha, ha, ha. The video really took off. And I was like, why are people laughing? Like, I'm really trying to like encourage them here. And, well, for those of you that are Bible scholars, Moses didn't build the ark. It was Noah. And oh yeah, I created it, I edited it, and I posted it. How I got through that whole process without catching that's just mom brain. That's just a brain fart. But that's what happened. Did I look dumb? Yes. Did I look a little stupid? Just a little bit. Was it kind of funny and did I need to laugh it off? I sure did. But like, man, am I going to let that like keep me from the more that God has for the plans he's got for me and also the people that maybe I'm called to reach and impact? And just thinking about the Father's heart, like I get more excited as a parent watching my kids try than actually when they know everything. I'll never forget seeing my daughter. And if you're a parent or if you're a soon to be parent, maybe you'll understand. I'll never forget like when my daughter was crawling and she's my first, but seeing her straighten her legs and stand up and take those steps. I mean, my jaw dropped. I remember my eyes filled up because I was like, oh, you're doing it and you're trying and you're like seeing the excitement on her face that like she's doing it. It was more exciting then than it is now when I see her, walk across the room, right? Because she knows how to do it. And she's successful at it. She can walk. Yippee yahoo. But man, that first time and seeing her legs wobble a little bit and she had to bend down and like touch the ground in order to stabilize herself. But the courage and those are the moments as a parent that I'm like, oh my word, my girl, so proud of you. And I just believe that, as God's daughters, he wants to have those moments with you where you're like, I'm scared. I'm nervous, God, and I don't really know if I'm going to do it right. And I picture him being like, I know. And that's faith. And that's why you have me. That's why I sent the Holy Spirit. He's the comforter, right? Like he's going to comfort you. Like let him comfort you as you step out. And he wants to have those moments with you. Like, guys, where are my people that are passionate and willing to take a risk and to get it wrong, but at least you went on a little God adventure. At least you learned something. At least you got out of the boat. Like Peter is legit my hero. Okay. He saw Jesus doing something that was so extraordinary, literally walking on water. And he had the idea and the audacity and the courage to say, hey, Lord, and like the little like cheekiness to be like, hey, Lord, if it's you, call me out onto the water. Oh, I'm such a softie. I don't know why I cry on my own. Like I literally am sitting here tearing up thinking about it. It's pathetic. But like, and he did it. And he was like, all right, Peter, come. And he got out of the boat and people are like, well, and then he saw the wind and the waves and, oh, you got to have, and you know what I think? I think when Peter got back in the boat and he was sopping wet and all the disciples looked at him and maybe they're like, ha ha, Peter. Peter was like, guys, sit down. I walked on water. Okay. What did you do? You sat in the boat. And you know what? You know what I love? On Peter's gravestone, he could literally put walked on water with Jesus. Like that's the thing is he could say that. And I want to be a person that takes my little bit of faith, my little bit that I've got, and at least I could say I did something with it. At least I could say I offered it to you, Lord. At least I could say I tried. That, like, man, that is it. That is it. Is it about like, I made millions of dollars. I impacted this amount of people. You know what it is for me? Is it's like, did I stretch my faith? Did I try? Did I get outside of my comfort zone? Like, that's what I think matters. If you were making, if that's a goal of yours and you feel like that's on your heart and you're like, man, I would love to make $1 million to be able to do something or whatever. And that stretches your faith and causes you to believe God a little bit more and to see a little bit more of who he is, then yes. Yes, I'm sorry I'm yelling. I hope that this audio comes out okay and you haven't turned me down. I'm really sorry. I'm just getting excited. But it's like, what's going to stretch you in this season? What's going to cause you to see a little bit more of Jesus? What's going to cause you to see a little bit more of God in your life? What is that? And can you just do that? Can you try? That's where I'm at today. And so, step 3, I don't know, this is step 4. If we're on step 4 is ditch the script. Okay. This is the last thing I'm going to close out with this. Ditch the script. There are so many people right now that are like, could you just give me the blueprint? Could you give me a script on like what to say on video? And I'll be honest with you, for a while, I was like, yeah. I can do that. Let me write it all out for you. And I'll write it all out and I'm going to send it to you. And this week, somebody asked me this question. They said, Melissa, what really makes you mad on like that you see on social media? And I was like, man, I don't really get mad. I don't know. And then I thought of this app that just came out where it's like a teleprompter and it scripts your videos for you and it helps you. And I thought of that and I was like, actually, that makes me kind of mad. And they're like, why does that make you mad? And I was like, because you know what? Having a script that you have to read in order to show up actually, I think, holds you back from like discovering your voice. And I believe that God wants people to start discovering their voice, not reading a script, not trying to be perfect, not trying to check all the, law. And I'm not saying don't be excellent, but I'm just saying like too many people are relying on those things that's actually keeping their voice locked up in perfectionistic tendencies and getting them stuck in their head. And it makes me mad. I would rather be somebody that puts out bad content for a year as I'm learning and developing my communication skills and trying to show up authentically as myself than perfect my content with a script. I would rather try to learn how to be authentic than try to be perfect. That's the bottom line for me. And have I shown up and missed it? 100%. Do I struggle with it sometimes? 100%. Am I on a journey of learning and growing and figuring it out? Yes. And so I would rather have that. And so for you that's listening, by the way, right now my dog is chewing on my sweater and totally, this is showing up messy. Has to go out. So I need to wrap this up. But I want to just encourage you, like, you're not going to get the script for life. You're not, you can you can get in the word, you can pray, you can get with God, but a lot of times he doesn't give you a script. He gives you a word. He gives you an idea. He gives you a principle. And it is up to us to develop the faith, to develop the muscles to take action on it. And so if you're waiting for someone to come by and tell you exactly what to do, I would say, find somebody that's going to empower you to become a leader in your own right. Okay. And find somebody that's going to empower you to discover your voice, because if I could help you get in touch with your voice, you are going to be more effective. You're going to reach more people. You're going to be able to impact more people with that than learning how to memorize and write out a script. And that's true for life. So I hope this was impactful. I hope this was helpful for you. I would love to know. I seriously am a real person on the other side of the screen that loves to find out, like, hey, is this helping you? So if it is, please let me know. And I also want to share with you, I'm launching a 5-day video challenge, 5-day video challenge. It's happening November 13th to the 17th, where I'm going to help you ditch the script and show up and create a month's worth of content in 5 days. And this is an amazing challenge. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. And you're going to love it. And it's going to be fun. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm going to put the link below to sign up. And I'm pumped for you to join. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And tune in next week for another episode with me and maybe an amazing guest. Who knows? But have an amazing week.